In this video, I'm going to show you how to share a design you have created in Canva as a template link. I'll do a separate video if you want to share whatever you've created as a PDF file. So instances where you might want to share a template link would be if you've marketed the product as a template. So if it is something that they will be able to open and then change font colors, tweak the size of images or any other existing elements on there, add and delete pages. So it's essentially something that will just save them time because you've done all the setup work for them. So a good example of that is my catalog template, which we have here. So when I want to put this up for sale in my Etsy shop or wherever, I would then obviously do all my checks, making sure fonts and everything's aligned, all that sort of stuff, and then go to share. And then in here, you can see I've got a template link and it is live. So you will need Canva Pro to be able to share a template link. So if you don't have Canva Pro, this option won't be available to you. But if you do, if you click on template link, and then you will see this little pop-up preview thing here, and it will tell you design is shared publicly. Anyone with the link can use this design as a template. And then you can click copy, and it will copy it to your clipboard. Now, I recommend that you go to another internet browser where you are not logged into Canva and paste that link. And then just check what it looks like to the person when they receive the link. So this is what it will generally look like for them, and they'll click use template for new design, and then that will open in their Canva account, and then they can save it and start customizing it and all that sort of stuff. Now, some people get a bit tripped up with that link, and you need to put the link somewhere. So you can't just have a link within the Etsy download system. So instead, I create a separate PDF file and I give them the instructions, and I just call it something like how to download the catalog template or how to download your purchase. And then they can download this PDF file in Etsy, which will take them to the Canva template. So instead of just dropping a link in a Word document, which has absolutely no explanation, and people get iffy about that, it might be like think it's a dodgy link or something. So I include full instructions. I've got the screenshot of what you just saw there, so it's really clear to people. I'm telling them you need to click this button here, and then you shouldn't get any queries about how to open the template. And then I also like to include some FAQs, so things like free or paid version, and then I also include some instructions as well, because even though you'll say to people it's a template, you're going to need some basic knowledge of how to use Canva, they're still going to ask you questions unless you put some instructions in the download. So I highly recommend that you give them some tips. And it also just adds value to your product as well, because if you say, oh, you need to know how to use Canva, people might think, oh, I'm not an expert in Canva, so I can't buy this template, when really Canva's quite easy, and to be honest, pretty much anyone can use it, so it's not like it really needs a lot of background experience, but it might just deter some people. But if you put in here, if you're given instructions and tips and things, they'll be like, okay, cool, I'll buy it. So that is how you would do a template link. And you can test that it's working, not only by obviously pasting the URL like I did just then, but also making sure that this says live. And just make sure that you obviously have your own copy, because people will then start making their own copies, etc. And I just think it's always good to have that master file. So if someone, for whatever reason, tries to rip off your design, it's like, well, excuse me, here's my original design. If you ever did need to have some sort of copyright case against them, but you should put in your listing, if you're selling a template, that it can be used for their own business use, but they cannot resell the template as a template. So make that really clear. It's not like a PLR template. So you need to put all of that in the listing description, and you may want to include that in your PDF when people click on the download link in here as well, just to clarify that. Otherwise, you will probably get a few sneaky people who will try and rip off your template and sell it as their own. So I'll have a link to the video down below where I show how to export as a PDF file if you want to sell a finished product to someone.